AEW are moving to smaller venues. And why is it taking so long? We've got more information on Vince McMahon's involvement in the new production company he is setting up. And WWE Draft rumours have been debunked. It's time for the news. One thing that AEW get a fair bit of criticism for is the fact that they are running big venues and ticket sales aren't as healthy as All Elite Wrestling would like them to be. According to Brian Alvarez on Wrestling Observer Live, AEW are indeed planning on running smaller venues, with a bit of additional information given as to why it hasn't happened sooner.
Yes, Alvarez said, "I've been told that there is headway being made in running smaller buildings. Now you hear that and think, why does headway need to be made? Just book smaller buildings." Well, apparently there actually was a logistical reason why they're running a lot of larger buildings, and it had to do with the set, and in particular the lighting rig. There was something that they had in their set that was basically too large and heavy to get into smaller buildings, and so they've been working on retooling it so they can actually get their set into smaller buildings. He continues to say, so I think as the year 2025 kind of starts coming in, they've been talking about different ideas for production and everything like that. I think we're going to finally get the move. There are going to be smaller buildings. They're going to work on some production, and hopefully there will be a positive in terms of how the shows look, sound, etc. on television, and they will save a lot of money, which I think is the main thing, really.
Well, obviously this feels like a little bit of a step back. Ticket sales aren't especially great for some AEW shows at the moment, so this must be a bitter pill to swallow, but totally right in saying that this is going to come across way better on TV.
Agreed.
You can tell on AEW shows if they haven't sold well, it doesn't feel the same. Obviously, you don't get the same crowd reactions.
That's
and
it.
I think despite the fact that you're moving to smaller venues, the TV shows will hopefully feel bigger as a result, because it's going to be more intimate, people are going to be more invested, and it's going to be louder because you've not got a load of empty seats.
No, I completely agree. I think all of those are a really good factor as to why you should start running smaller venues and smaller buildings as well, because I think you're right. Like, if you can fill out a smaller venue, then the crowd you hope is going to be loud anyway. It's going to look great on television as well to see all these people in the crowd and stuff like that. And also, I guess, if it ends up saving money at the end of the day for them too, that's also not a bad thing for them to put into other avenues of AEW and push more sort of things forward too.
For sure. I wonder if this means they'll enter different markets, maybe states that they haven't entered yet, that have smaller venues, that don't have the venues that traditionally AEW would have run historically. Maybe they'll try new places as a result of this. I think this is a really, really good thing, and hopefully the shows just feel a little bit more energized with this change. I was one of those people that was just like, well, why don't they just run smaller venues? It's daft, isn't it? I'm not talking about the pictures that get released with like hard cam not showing people. They have struggled for ticket sales for sure, with ticket sales for sure on some AEW shows, quite a few AEW shows. And I was always just like, why are they doing this to themselves? It looks bad. It really does. Hadn't even considered the lighting rig stuff, the production elements.
It'll be interesting to see how they sort of revamp it and stuff going into next year then as well.
Yeah, I wonder if these will be visible changes for us as an audience, or if this is just something that they just need to make a little bit smaller. We won't
scale
notice,
down a bit.
Week to week. Time will tell on that one, but I think it's a step in the right direction for AEW. Speaking of plans for Speedball Mike Bailey, Mike Johnson, a PW insider, confirming that Mike Bailey is done in TNA and he is believed to debut in AEW in the Continental Classic, saying the belief in AEW circles is that he will debut as part of that Continental Classic in a few weeks, likely in Chicago.
Chicago makes sense. I think that's always like a really good place to introduce a new wrestler, a new talent to the audience. Like, it always feels like we get a little bit of a surprise here and there with the Continental Classics, and I think he's got a shot in going really far in it as well.
I think it's perfect for him.
Me too.
I really do think it's the perfect way to debut somebody who is so wonderfully talented in the ring. He will get to show that off. It's, he'll get 10, 15 minutes to just prove what Mike Bailey is all about. So if you haven't seen Mike Bailey yet, his matches in the Continental Classic, if that is where he turns up, are going to be well worth watching. He will have everybody on side in week 1. At the end of that match, people, if you haven't seen him before, you're just going to get what he's all about. He's very, very, very good. We move over to Vince McMahon's new production company. So a little bit of an update on this and what Vince's involvement in that company is going to entail. Vince McMahon reportedly won't be involved in the day-to-day running of this new entertainment company that he and the group of loyalists are in the process of setting up. According to Mike Johnson of PW Insider, once again, told that Vince McMahon is going to be more of a backer in the new company as opposed to somebody who's going to be on the movie and TV sets. It's going to be centered around backing and producing movies and TV projects. We knew that already, but there's also talk about possibly setting up a podcast network in California, because if there's one thing the world needs, it's more podcasts. He further noted the new company is in the very early stages. They're currently reaching out to talent liaisons and studios to build relationships. The hope is that the company can officially launch. It's really soon, actually, Q1 of 2025, but that is very much reliant on Vince McMahon's legal issues being resolved. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does now. The guy just can't stay away, take a break, if you want to call it that. That's a weird way to describe it. But it'll be interesting to see what they end up doing. The reports all state that it's not going to be anything to do with professional wrestling. This is very much an entertainment company rather than something that is, in the pro wrestling world. So it'll be interesting to see if they do indeed launch in Q1 next year, which I'm very, very doubtful. Obviously, as it says there, it's sort of dependent on all the legalities and everything at the moment with the case, isn't it? So I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see if it really gets off the ground or not. Over to WWE now, and some draft rumors have been debunked. There's been a lot of speculation about top SmackDown stars moving over to Raw, with Netflix advertising the likes of John Cena, Roman Reigns, SmackDown superstar, of course, Bianca Belair, Cody Rhodes, and many other superstars and surprise guests for the debut of Raw on Netflix. This speculation very much heightened. You may have seen this when a graphic for SmackDown was released with Solo Sikoa replacing Roman Reigns on it. So everybody's just like, wow, okay, that must mean Roman's off to Raw, right? Mike Johnson once again providing an update on those rumors and saying, no, Roman and Cody are not leaving SmackDown to go to Raw. It's just that it's all guns blazing and they're going to do every single thing they can to make that Netflix debut in LA as important as possible on January 6th. It's that simple. I sort of believed the thing. That was a weird one where they released that graphic with, because it was Roman on it, and then they replaced him with Solo. So there's got to be a reason for them doing that. That probably does. And you can't blame Netflix for wanting the biggest dog of all on their show. So I thought, that's a possibility. I reckon when the draft comes around, I think there's still a possibility of that. I think we'll see a bit of shake-up for sure, which I'm excited to see how they do that, and whether that's because Raw is on Netflix now and they want the bigger stars remains to be seen, I guess. But I think it makes sense that at least for the debut of Raw on Netflix, that they'll want to get as many big names as possible to just kick it off in the biggest way possible. Goes without saying, it's going to be absolutely stacked. Yeah. Again, Cody, I could see still, despite this report, I could still see him going to Raw. Cody's always felt like more of a Raw guy. To me, he feels out of place on SmackDown. Do you know what? It's just like his aesthetic and like who he is. He feels Raw. I don't know how to put that into words. Do you know what I mean? I think it's because when he returned, he was Raw, wasn't he? Yeah. That was what it was. So I guess maybe like in your mind, you're like, what? No, it's not that. It's just he feels Raw. He feels like a Raw guy. I don't know what it is. Speaking of Netflix, and take this with a grain of salt, this is a weird one. Some ratings for WWE shows have been revealed. The current listing on Netflix for Raw is a TV 14 rating. Meanwhile, NXT given a PG rating. SmackDown has a mature audiences rating. Again, make of this what you will. These could just be placeholders for all we know. In the UK here, Monday Night Raw listed with a 15 rating. SmackDown, an 18 rating. and NXT has a 12 rating. So again, those might just be placeholders. They might not have quite figured it all out yet. But like SmackDown getting mature audiences and an 18 rating, that's still going to be showing on the USA Network at the time, with then the video on demand going on Netflix.
Yeah, so you obviously there's still sponsors and advertisements and stuff to take into factor there. I feel like it's more placeholder, and perhaps maybe the 18 rating, the MA rating is there as a placeholder because obviously sort of building towards WrestleMania, The Rock on SmackDown, and Raw for that matter as well, to be honest, was not letting anything, slip under the... He was very vocal in his swear words and the things that he was doing, and therefore maybe they've just seen that and gone, well, we'll just put that there for now. I don't know,
maybe. We'll keep you updated on that one. It's a little bit of a weird one for sure. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Adam Pacitti.
I've been Andrew Dingle.
And we have been Cultaholic.
Have you seen Sam Dingle from Emmerdale?
No.
Ripped.
Is he?
Yep.
Book him.
Book him.
I don't even know who he is. See ya.